comes close by accident. No one offers help without a silent calculation behind it. In this world where survival is often masked as kindness, every connection is a transaction cloaked in sentiment. Behind every smile, every touch, every compliment, there's a desire. Maybe it's obvious: your money, your influence, your network, or maybe it's more subtle: your emotional support, your time, your silence, or simply the comfort of having you as a fallback. The point is this: everyone wants something from you. And if you don't know what that is, you're already being used. That's not cynicism, that's clarity. It's not bitterness, it's awareness. The naive believe people approach them out of purity, that people love them for who they are, that friends stick around because of shared memories, that loyalty is given freely. But the moment your value diminishes, when you're no longer funny, useful, generous, or available, they leave. And it's not personal, it's transactional. Machiavelli warned us 500 years ago, if everyone is playing for their own interest, the only way to avoid becoming a victim is to become a strategist. To manipulate not maliciously but intelligently. You must learn to see through the layers. What does this person want from me? What need of theirs do I satisfy? What emotion do I feed? If you can answer that, you have power. If you can't, you are powerless. Power isn't about domination. It's about anticipation. You don't need to control people. You need to control your position in their lives. That's what leverage is. Leverage isn't loud, it's quiet. Awareness of your value. It's the ability to say no without guilt. It's knowing that your time, your presence, your attention are currencies. And if you're giving them away for free, you're not generous. You're bankrupt, and here lies the tragedy. Most people don't even realize they're being used. They think they're being loved. They think their emotional labor, their loyalty, their patience is appreciated. But appreciation without reciprocation is exploitation. Just because someone thanks you doesn't mean they respect you. Respect is measured in return, not words. Ask yourself who only calls when they need something, who disappears when you're struggling, who praises you just enough to keep you invested but never truly shows up when it matters. These aren't anomalies, they're signals. And if you ignore them, you're not kind. You're blind. This is the harsh truth of human relationships. They are built on mutual interest. Even love in its purest form often begins with benefit, emotional security, companionship, social status, convenience. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're aware. The problem isn't that people seek value. The problem is pretending they don't. Let's be clear. You are not loved because you're inherently lovable. You're loved because you're perceived as valuable. That value could be emotional, physical, social, or symbolic, but it's always there. And when that perception fades, so does the attachment. People don't stay because they should. They stay because there's something in it for them. That's why the wise don't waste time asking, why did they change? The better question is, what changed in what I offered them? That's how you protect yourself. Not with bitterness, but with boundaries. Not with revenge, but with recognition. You begin to notice who's sincere and who's strategic, who's there out of loyalty, and who's there out of convenience. You don't have to be cruel to survive this world, but you do have to be calculating, strategic aware. You have to stop assuming every kind gesture is genuine. Many smiles hide hunger, many hugs hide intentions. And many I care about yous are simply investments made to ensure you'll give more when the time comes. So what do? You stop offering yourself for free. You observe, you listen, you withhold when necessary. You don't rush to fix everything. You don't over-explain, you don't overshare. You don't beg to be seen, because if someone truly values you, they won't need convincing. They'll prove it in action, not just affection. And if they don't, let them go. Not out of hate, out of clarity. You think you're irreplaceable, that your loyalty means something, that your sacrifices have built unshakable bonds. But let me tell you something raw. You are only as valuable as your last contribution. People disappear when you no longer offer convenience. They go silent when your life turns difficult, and the very ones who called you family will ghost you the second you stop serving their needs. You call it heartbreak, they call it transition, because to them it was never about you, it was about what you provided. It stings, doesn't it? Watching people fade when you're broke, when you're tired, when you're not smiling, when you stop pouring your energy into their emotional black hole. But don't let the pain cloud the lesson. Their loyalty wasn't real. It was rented. People are loyal to their interests, not your identity. And once your usefulness expires, so does their affection. Still think you have friends? Ask yourself this. How many of them reached out when you had nothing to give? How many stayed when you had no spotlight, no energy, no gifts? If that number is low, Congratulations, you just met the truth. Never give for free. Let me repeat that. Never give for free. That doesn't mean you become heartless. It means you become strategic. You help someone. Good. Then create leverage. You support someone even better than to tie it to loyalty. You give energy. Make sure it's an investment, not a sacrifice. Because if you keep giving without return, you're not generous. You're being bled, slowly, silently. And they will praise you for being a good person while draining everything from you. It's a brutal cycle. You give because you care. They take because they can. You burn out. They move on. And in the end, you're left wondering what went wrong. Here's what went wrong. You didn't know how to assign value to your effort. Machiavelli didn't say kindness is weakness. He said unrewarded kindness is foolishness. And that's what too many people fall into, this emotional blackmail dressed as morality. You're taught to give without expectation, to love without limit, to forgive without boundaries, but here's the truth. They never taught you in school. Unconditional love is a myth created to control the strong, powerful people. Do not give endlessly. They trade, they negotiate, they understand their value. And they know this. If you're not leveraging your presence, someone else is profiting from it. So ask yourself, what's your price? What's your time worth? What emotional cost are you paying to keep certain people in your life? And what exactly are you getting in return? If the answer is silence, inconsistency, or vague promises, you are not in a relationship. You are in a transaction where you're the product. Now let's talk about power, because this is where it all converges. Power isn't about money or fame or control. It's about perception. You can be brilliant, kind, even extraordinary. But if no one sees your value, you are invisible. The world doesn't reward authenticity. It rewards perceived usefulness. Think about it. How many average people you know are doing well because they know how to present their value? And how many talented ones are struggling because they're silent, humble, or self-sacrificing? Visibility matters. You could have the purest intentions, but if you look replaceable, you will be treated as such. This is not injustice. This is the reality of human psychology. Your kindness, if expected, becomes obligation. Your availability, if endless, becomes background noise. Your love, if free, becomes worthless. So what do? You create scarcity. Be less available. Say less. Give less. Make people earn your time. Let your value rise by being selective. The rarer your presence, the more powerful your presence becomes. People chase what they can't easily access. That's human nature. When you become scarce, you become sacred. Power isn't always loud. In fact, the most dangerous people in any room are often the quietest. They don't reveal. They observe. They don't beg. They calculate. And that's what separates the indispensable from the replaceable. The more available you are, the cheaper you become. In relationships, in business, in life, abundance devalues. Rarity commands attention. The person who answers every message instantly. Taken for granted, the one who's always emotionally available becomes background noise. The one who speaks less becomes mysterious, and mystery breeds respect. Let's be honest. Most people talk too much, give too much, explain too much. They think over-communication will buy loyalty, but the opposite is true. The more you explain, the more you expose. The more you give, the more they expect. The trick is not to disappear, but to withdraw just enough to raise your value. Strategic silence is one of the most underused weapons in the game of power. When you stay silent, people begin to project. They fill in the blanks with fear, respect, or curiosity. They assume you know more than you do. They wonder what you're thinking, what you're planning, and suddenly, you're in control of the narrative without saying a word. Look at history. The most feared leaders weren't the ones who shouted orders. They were the ones who made people wait, who created tension in silence, who didn't reveal their hand too soon, because silence is a space where leverage grows. You see, every time you speak, you give people information they can use. Every time you react emotionally, you give them leverage. And every time you explain yourself too much, you lose the one thing that keeps power intact. Mystery. That's why the powerful don't just speak carefully. They use silence as strategy. Silence when accused, silence when tested, silence when baited. Because every emotional outburst, every defensive word, every overreaction is a gift to the manipulator. Don't give them that gift. Instead, become the person who's hard to read, who doesn't overreact, who listens more than they speak. Because when people can't read you, they fear you. And when they fear you, they respect your space. They calculate their approach. They hesitate. And in that hesitation, you gain the upper hand. But let's now go deeper into something even colder, even harder to accept. A truth that breaks illusions. Most betrayals don't happen because someone hates you. They happen because someone sees a better opportunity. We grow up believing betrayal is fueled by evil intentions, that people only hurt us because they're bad. But that's not true. Most betrayal comes from calculation, not emotion. From people who simply shift their loyalty when their interest shifts. Think of Judas. He walked with Jesus, ate with him, prayed with him. He wasn't a stranger, he was family. And yet when the price was right, 30 pieces of silver, he sold him out. Why? Because the value of that transaction outweighed the emotional cost of betrayal. That's not mythology. That's human nature. Still think you're immune? Look at your life. How many people disappeared when you no longer had money? How many friends stopped calling when you were depressed, broken, or emotionally unavailable? How many loyal partners slowly drifted when the thrill faded or a new option appeared? It hurts, but it's also your wake-up call. The root of betrayal is not hate. It's shifting interest. People aren't with you because they love you. They're with you because you're valuable to them right now. And when your value diminishes or someone else offers more, they switch sides. Quietly, logically. And without guilt, this isn't meant to make you cold. It's meant to make you clear. Because once you accept that love is often tied to utility, you stop over-investing in illusion. You start protecting your energy. You stop expecting loyalty from those who see you as temporary. Alexander the Great conquered the known world. Nations trembled at his name. And yet when his strength faded, when his health declined, his own generals turned on him. They didn't care about legacy, they cared about power. And the second he could no longer secure their future, they moved on. The same happens to you. The second you become too tired, too soft, too broken, watch how they vanish. Watch how silence replaces support, how excuses replace loyalty, and how I love you becomes, I need space. So what's the lesson here? It's not, don't trust. It's know why they're trusting you. It's not, don't give. It's give strategically. It's not, don't connect. It's connect with awareness. You are not cold for seeing clearly. You are not toxic for protecting yourself. You are not arrogant for setting boundaries. You are simply waking up to the true rules of the game. Because in this world, the ones who survive, who truly win, are not the kindest. They're the ones who know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to give and when to disappear, and when to walk away before being used. Gratitude, it's a beautiful word, one we cling to when we give. When we sacrifice, when we pour our energy into others, we think, at least they'll appreciate me. But here's the truth. No one wants to say out loud. Gratitude is not loyalty. It's not repayment. It's not even memory. Gratitude is interest alive only as long as you're useful. How many times have you helped someone rise only for them to forget you the moment they stood on their own feet? How many times have you sacrificed your time, your health, your peace, thinking that your loyalty would be remembered? And how many of those people still call you today? People don't remember effort. They remember convenience. They remember what you gave when it made their lives easier. But when that convenience is gone, so is their gratitude. That's why the most generous people often become the most bitter. Because they wake up too late realizing they were never appreciated. Only used. Machiavelli knew this. He wrote, "Men forget the death of their father more quickly than the loss of their inheritance." Why? Because human beings are wired to protect benefit more than bond. We are programmed deep in our survival instinct to preserve advantage. Sentiment fades, but self-interest, it endures. So stop expecting gratitude to sustain your relationships. It won't stop thinking your past sacrifices have earned you permanent loyalty. They haven't. In the marketplace of human connection, yesterday's gift is forgotten by tomorrow, unless it comes with a contract. What does that mean? It means you create psychological contracts. You make people understand silently or directly that your support comes at a cost. That your help is not a handout, it's leverage. That you are not just giving out of love, you are investing with purpose. And if that makes you uncomfortable, ask yourself, how many times has your selfless love been used as a stepping stone by someone else? How many people have thanked you, then vanished? That's not betrayal, that's business. It only hurts because you didn't see the invoice when you gave. But believe me, every act has a price, and if you don't name it, they never will. Now take a breath. Silence for a moment. Let this truth sink in. Every relationship is a battlefield of interests. Some admit it. Others hide it behind smiles. Words like loyalty, friendship, or love. But at the core, it's always the same. What do you bring me that no one else can? That's the terrain. And like Sun Tzu taught, whoever understands the terrain controls the outcome. You want power? Then stop being shocked by the rules and start mastering them. Build relationships on clarity, not illusion. On exchange, not entitlement. That's how kings rise. That's how generals win. That's how the quiet ones control empires without ever raising their voices. So the next time someone smiles at you, asks for a favor, or calls you their brother, ask yourself 3 questions. What do they gain from me? What would they lose if I walked away? What invisible debt are they building? Because every time someone needs you, they owe you. And if you're smart, you'll learn how to collect. Not in cruelty, but in strategy. That's not manipulation, that's survival. Now, let's confront a final deeper question. Are you being used or are you using? Be honest. Strip away the romanticism, the moral filters, the stories we tell ourselves. At some level, we are all playing a game of transactions. You keep that friend around because they listen. You support that colleague because they open doors. You stay in that relationship because it provides comfort. These aren't sins, they're realities. What makes the difference is whether you're aware of the exchange or lying to yourself about it. Because those who are unaware get used, those who are in denial get discarded, and those who refuse to play get played. This is not a world of innocence, this is a chessboard. And on this board, you are either the player or the pawn. Pawns are hopeful. They believe in words over patterns, promises over proof, feelings over facts. They move blindly, trusting the hand that guides them, and in the end, they are sacrificed for someone else's victory. Players, they observe, they calculate, they read motives beneath smiles, recognize contracts beneath friendships, and never move without purpose. They know one truth above all. If you don't control the game, you are the game. So ask yourself, who's controlling your movements? Who benefits from your loyalty, from your kindness, from your silence? And when the board shifts, will you be the one giving orders or the one being removed? This may feel uncomfortable. That's good, because real growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from clarity. And once you see the game, you can never unsee it. You begin to move differently, speak less, expect less, demand more. And above all, you stop playing to be liked and start playing to win. No one is innocent in this game. Let go of the fantasy that there are good people and bad people, that some are manipulators and some are pure-hearted angels. The truth is darker and far more useful. We are all using each other. The difference is awareness. Some use people consciously, strategically to build, to climb, to protect. Others do it unconsciously, disguising it as friendship romance or just being nice. But both are playing. One just knows the rules better. The moment you step into the world, you're in the game. Every smile, every favor, every interaction is part of a massive invisible negotiation. People trade time for affection, validation for control, support for access. And those who deny it are the ones most easily controlled. This is the hardest truth to swallow. You've used people too. Maybe not with bad intentions, maybe not to harm, but you've stayed in relationships longer than you should have because it was convenient. You've accepted help without ever intending to return the favor. You've leaned on others emotionally even when you knew they were running on empty. So stop pretending you're above it all. You're not. None of us are. And that's exactly why it's so important to understand the rules before you become another pawn. Sacrifice for someone else's endgame. Now here's the second hard truth. Your value is not permanent, it's fluid. It rises and falls based on context, timing, perception, and need. Today you may be irreplaceable, skilled, needed, praised. But tomorrow, the market shifts. A better option appears, the game changes, and if you haven't evolved, if you've been too comfortable, too available, too static, you become obsolete. This is why the powerful never stop reinventing themselves. They anticipate change, they study perception. They don't rely on yesterday's glory to protect them today. They know value must be refreshed, redefined, and repackaged constantly. Think of the world like a giant marketplace. Every person is a brand, and every brand must evolve or it dies. Your kindness, your loyalty, your intelligence, these are products. And if those products become too common, too expected, too easy to access, people will stop paying attention. They'll walk past you like you're just another vendor with the same tired offer. So what do the wise do? They create scarcity. Scarcity is power. The less people can access you, the more they value your presence. The more mysterious your mind, the more desirable your insight. The more selective you are with time, the more powerful your attention becomes. In human psychology, abundance signals weakness. Scarcity signals worth. Why? Because if everyone can have you, then you can't be that valuable. But if access to you is rare, if your approval, your energy, your insight, your company are not given freely, then those who receive it will treat it as privilege, not entitlement. Don't believe it. Look at history. Diamonds are just carbon useless abundant. if not for marketing and control. Luxury brands thrive not because they're always better, but because they are harder to get. Influence is the same. People chase what they think they can't have, not what they know is always there. So if you want to raise your value, don't add more, reveal less. Don't shout, whisper. Don't over-explain. Let them wonder. Don't be everywhere, be missed. This isn't ego, this is economics. And you are the commodity, act accordingly, but let's go even deeper. Silence, scarcity, and strategy mean nothing if you don't know which role you're playing. So ask yourself, are you a gladiator or are you a merchant? The gladiator fights for applause. He's covered in blood, sweat, scars. He survives by entertaining the crowd, by proving his strength over and over again. But the moment the crowd gets bored, he's discarded, forgotten, replaced. Now the merchant, he never fights, he never bleeds. He controls the supply chain. He chooses what's sold to whom and for how much. He sets the value. He controls demand. And if the market dries up, he adapts. In the arena of human relationships, most people are gladiators. They overgive, overexpose, overperform, hoping to be seen, praised, loved. But the truth is, the crowd will never love you for you. They love you for what you do for them. The second you stop performing, they stop watching. So choose wisely. Because in this world, applause is short-lived, but leverage that lasts. Be the merchant, set your value, control your presence, define your terms. Let others chase you, not because you're arrogant, but because you've finally realized you're not a product on display. You are the source of supply. Final thought: in every relationship, someone is defining the rules, setting the price, and controlling the narrative. If it's not you, it's someone else. And if you're not thinking like a player, you're already being played. The game won't stop for your feelings. The market won't adjust for your kindness. The world won't reward you for being accessible. It will reward you for being rare, strategic, and dangerously aware of your own worth. So now the question becomes, are you the gladiator or the merchant? Choose wisely. Silence again. Let everything you've just heard settle in. Now ask yourself honestly, do they really like you or do they like what you give them? Maybe they admire your strength, or maybe they need your stability. Maybe they call you wise. Or maybe they just need you to listen so they can avoid listening to themselves. Either way, when your usefulness ends, so might the relationship. This isn't bitterness, it's strategy. You don't have to live in paranoia, but you do need to live with awareness, because the day will come when someone you trusted walks away without warning, without guilt. And in that moment, the only thing that will protect you is the clarity you built in advance. Ask yourself now, if you disappeared today, who would panic? Who would adjust? And who would finally reveal they never cared at all? These answers don't just expose others, they reveal where your real leverage lies, because every person who needs you is holding an invisible debt. And if you don't learn to collect or walk away, you'll carry emotional bankruptcy for the rest of your life. Look around you. The world is transactional. Always has been. So stop asking why people used you. Ask yourself why you kept offering yourself without terms. Stop waiting to be appreciated. Start becoming irreplaceable, not by giving more, but by mastering what, when, and to whom you give. Because in the end, this game doesn't reward the good-hearted, it rewards the sharp-minded. It doesn't remember those who love blindly, it remembers those who made themselves unforgettable. So here's the last question you must answer. Will you be just another name in the notebook of invisible debts? Or will you be the one writing the rules of the exchange? The choice is yours. But remember, the game never stops, and it waits for no one. In today's world, awareness isn't a luxury, it's a survival skill. The most powerful lesson from this philosophy is simple but uncomfortable. Every relationship is transactional. Whether we admit it or not, people gravitate toward what you can offer: emotional support, access, influence, or convenience. And the moment that value fades, so can their loyalty. This doesn't mean we must become cold or manipulative. It means we need to see clearly. Stop expecting permanent loyalty for temporary help. Stop offering your time, energy, and emotional labor without setting boundaries or understanding the exchange. Your kindness must have a spine. Your generosity must have strategy. Otherwise, you'll become a silent resource used, forgotten, and discarded. Gratitude is fleeting. Utility is remembered. So instead of seeking validation, build leverage. Learn to create scarcity, not abundance. Be intentional with your presence. Say less, watch more. And above all, don't give your value away for free. This isn't a call to become ruthless. It's a call to become wise, because the truth is in every room. Someone is being used. The only question is, are you the pawn or the player? In a culture obsessed with being liked, be the one who is respected. In a world that rewards usefulness, be the one who defines their own worth.